Hello, everybody. Welcome one, welcome all. It is our Monday night live stream. Yes, I'm the one kick-starting us off. Big J running a little bit late, having just finishing up some dinner. Slack, absolutely slack, unbelievable. At 7:30 p.m. on a Monday. We can't keep you guys waiting. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining. Looking forward to another excellent Monday night stream with you guys. And Jono, right on 7:30 on your Jono. Congratulations. Number one cab off the rank for Jono. Unfortunately, sorry for your mom, for your boys. I did tip Adelaide. I thought they were going to win, but it's all right. You guys will be fine. G'day, Jono. Hope you are well. Yes, I am doing well. Thank you very much. I would be keen to hear your thoughts on my trades. Hollins to Humphrey and Davey to Berry or Sharp. Keep up. Awesome. Oh, mate. Much love. Cheers, Jono. I really appreciate it, mate. Yeah, Humphrey is one that really came on. I know some of you guys were asking about Humphrey, but he absolutely dominated on the weekend, and it sort of came by surprise. I'm not sure anyone, there were people certainly asking here on this chat on Thursday about him, but I don't think anyone in their wildest dreams would have possibly have thought that Humphrey was going to go as big as he did at 117. That is huge. Now, will we expect to see 117s from him every week? Obviously not. A lot of things lined up for him this week, playing up against the weak West Coast Eagles team, lining up on, without having one of their best on-ballers in Tuke Miller in the side as well, Anderson being tagged. So a lot of things went his way. So can you expect to see more 100-plus scores? Probably not, but oh, jeez, I don't really like cheese. Yep, you are the one. You liked him, mate. You really did not have to chuck us $7.99, but much appreciated, Cheese. You're an absolute superstar. Yes, Jono, Cheese, he asked about him. He asked about Humphrey, cheeky option. I thought, nah, not for that price. But turns out I was wrong. And Cheese, you were on the money. Congratulations, mate. You're an absolute superstar. As well, Global. G'day, mate. G'day, Global. G'day, Shawnee Baker. Yeah, man, this is great. Awesome. But yeah, Jono, in relation to those questions, I think Humphrey is going to make a lot of money really quickly. Obviously, now that he's got two great scores in his system, he's got that great buy as well. In the middle, whether or not he can hold his spot for that long, it's definitely very possible because he's already played from round 4 through to round 9, so he's had 5 games in a row now. You'd think he's locked into that team. He's had a really slow start to the year, and then obviously a 64 last week against Melbourne probably was something that a lot of us should have paid a lot more attention to and had a closer look at how that meant for his scoring. A 64 against Melbourne and a loss is really, really impressive. And I don't think many rookies are capable of going 60 plus against Melbourne in a loss. So that should have tipped all of our attention. We should have probably looked a lot closer into him, like Cheese did on last week. So yeah, he's got a tough run to come though. Now the next 4 games, he's got Brisbane away. He's then got the Dogs away, Adelaide away, Carlton away, before finally playing Hawthorn at home. So if he goes 52, if he scores 50s, he's only going to make, according to Supercoach Gold, I'm looking at it here. In fact, I might even just share the screen. It might make it easier for all of us. Let me just share the screen here for you guys. So yeah, I'm looking here. We're looking at Bailey Humphrey. His break even now is -59. He's absolutely crushed it. And if he scores a 52, he's going to go at 50.6K, which is sensational for him. But as we can look here, if I can zoom in just a bit more, we can see here that if he scores 50s, then he's going to make 80K roughly before not really making much more money afterwards. So I don't know. It's a question. Can you see him, performing better than 50s? He's up until before last week, he hadn't done it once all year. And now he's got a fairly tough month of football to come. So that's a question mark that I've got over Humphrey and whether or not we've missed that train or not. I'm going to have to look a bit more into it for you, Jono, for that. Berry or Sharp? I think Sharp's probably better than Berry, I think, if you were to pick one of those two. But yeah, I think Humphrey, it's not an easy one, that's for sure. I think I'm going to have to look a bit more into it, and I might make a video on that one. Oi, Dan. How are you, Dan? Mate, Freo Tragic, absolute gun. Your boys surprised me a lot. I can't believe they managed to pull off the win against Sydney. Congratulations. Well done. I thought you guys were no good, but it turns out you still got something in you. Looking at Red Dog this week. Look, I love Red Dog. I love my boy, Mason Redman. He's a star. And the thing is, he's a star that loves to play under a roof. He loves Marvel Stadium, especially in a victory. So he's quite juicy priced. I can totally understand why you're looking at Mason with a break even of 41. He also is really good when it comes in our wins. He scores quite well compared to our losses. However, having said that, we had a loss and he still scored 136, which is very surprising for a Mason Redman sort of game. In a loss, this is sort of what we're used to seeing, like, non-100 scores. But we can't forget that this 136 came in a week where we had no Ridley. So obviously Ridley and Redman, they're sort of eating into each other because they're both capable of intercepting. They both take kick-ins. It's very hard, I think, for Redman to be a top 6 defender. And when you're trading in a guy at 444K, I don't know, that's pretty expensive D7. I personally wouldn't go it, to be completely honest with you. Having said that, he's probably going to have a good game against Richmond. The defenders give up a lot of points. Their team gives up a lot of points to defenders, and he's a really attacking defender with quite a decent run over the next 3 weeks. He's very capable of going.
What's
really
up, everybody?
Good. But yeah, how are you, Jay?
How you going?
Yeah, good. I was talking to Dan here to Freo Tragic about Mason Redman. He's asking me, looking at Red Dog, Hopper to Redman in one trade. Look, I'd like it if you can go rather than a Redman. If you could get a Merritt in, for example, I reckon Merritt out of the Essendon players, I think Merritt is your man. To be completely honest, Dan, love it, love him, and he's the person I'm trading in this week. Hopper is going out, and as you can see, actually, you can see my team already. There you go. So these were my trades this week. I've gone Hopper to Merritt and Chandler to Cameron. I'm probably spoiling my team review, which should have come out today. I made the video. I just haven't, and the thumbnail just hasn't been uploaded yet. But yeah, spoiler alert. This is what I'm doing this week.
Hey man, it's pretty good, right? Getting 2 premiums in, still having a good 60 odd K in the bank. Can't complain, Joe.
No,
bloody amazing trade. How many till your full premium? So like
three players. So I got 3 rookies on field and a set of GOAT who can score me.
Pretty good.
Score me something decent. All right, Shawnee is asking about what?
Hey Jennifer, how you doing?
Medium J. What do you see that's so medium about this? I wish I was a medium J. Jennifer, that's my goal. To one day be able to wear a medium. I'd love that. But yeah, that's not too bad. That's pretty interesting. On you, Jen. Good to see you. Sean's asking about maybe time to trade Chase Jones. Oh, Chase Jones. Yeah. I mean, how did he do last week? I didn't have a look to see how Chase Jones did last week. What did he score? He's got a 73. That's not...
Yeah, he's been trudging along. I think they've got a spot for him, obviously, and he's doing really well. It's just kind of Stocker, I think, has a little bit more money. Chase Jones is in that point where he's got to have another big 100 week to really kind of bounce back and reset his cash gen is kind of the key word and the great word of this kind of, round 8, round 9 is reset your cash gen. Everyone's looking to do that with rookies. Otherwise, see you later. So he can do it. But
especially against the Dogs, who are ranked 14th against defenders. So look, the matchup could be there for him to have that bounce back game. Is he due, you reckon, for a big game? He tends to have a couple of sub-hundreds. Sub 100
If they were playing anywhere that wasn't Mars Stadium this week, I'd probably say he's in with a fair chance. But from memory, Mars is pretty small. So I don't know how much run and carry a winger's going to get compared to a few other teams. That's the one down in Ballarat. Yeah. So it's fairly small from memory. So I just don't know how much a run and carry this player is really going to be able to get.
11,000 fan capacity. That's not too big.
Nah, it's just like a local ground, right? With local Ballarat.
Fair enough.
Ballarat or Bendigo. Yeah. One of the two. Anyway,
I think Sean. Yeah, I think it might be time to say goodbye to Chase. He was fun while he lasted, I think. But yeah, I think he might have to go.
He's one of those players that did have those clutch high scores when you really needed them. So
that's true.
Yeah, he's definitely done his job for you.
Yeah, mate. Big J, this one might be for you. You reckon Drury holds on to his spot with all of those injuries?
It's tough. North Melbourne's in a lot of trouble. He obviously didn't really perform that well. I think he scored like a 15 or something for the whole game. So it really sucks. The ball was not down our end of the ground, which didn't really help, especially compared to the first game. Because if you look at the scoring in that first game that Drury played, a lot of it was in the first quarter. And then he got 40-odd points in the first quarter. It was hey, amazing young player is going to be fantastic. And then just really fell off in the second when we started losing. In this game, we just started losing basically from the first 20 or 30 minutes. So the ball really wasn't down. Wasn't really down that end of the ground. In saying that, it looks like we're going to have 6 forced changes already from our best 22 team. So if Drury's fit, I think he's a fair chance to at least play his third game this week. So after that, I can't really predict it. We need a small forward. We're desperate for the type of player that he can be. It's just tough, Joe. I always say, and it's the Corey Wagners, right? I always say, don't go early on these players, and people did. People tried to save the 30-odd K, getting him over Weddle, and Weddle had a decent game, and Drury kind of fell flat. Oh. So if I had to make a prediction, I'd love this kid to play for the rest of the year, but it's a big wait and see. With our injuries that have just happened, I think it's a fair chance.
Mate, Weddle even kicked the goal. Get stuffed. That's not happening.
He did well. He did well, but he was playing off the halfback. He was playing in that back pocket, used a lot in the scoring chains like you see there. Sicily would kick to him. Then you do kind of the switch kick across the ground. He was getting involved. That's all you want from a rookie, right?
So annoyed I didn't pick him. I thought he was no good. I've been duped by Sam Mitchell once again. Stuff you, Sam. I hate you.
I always said, I think I said it last week on the stream, I'm like, hey, this guy's been picked amongst all the other Hawthorn players that have come back. That's just huge for the job security. Sam Mitchell definitely loves his guys that perform well in the VFL. We see that with a Bramble and a Newcombe being picked up from the team, but also guys who do well in the VFL team coming into the senior side. So Weddle was dominating, getting 25-plus possessions every week in the VFL, has come in and maybe not got 25, but I'm pretty sure he's locked in a position for him.
15 touches, 12 touches. You reckon, as I saw the question come in from Tone, you reckon it's still worthwhile to get a Weddle at 168K, or has that ship sailed, you reckon?
If you were looking at, if you had to downgrade to get somebody in and you couldn't do it any other way, I was looking at the Dogs player, the one that debuted last week. He obviously didn't score very well. I was looking at Drury as a downgrade option this week. Obviously, it's a bit sketchy there, but 102K. I think you can afford it, but he might only get to 250K. So you're bringing him in as a downgrade option. He should play through the buys, which I think is probably a big thing at the moment. Hawks, I think, have that round 14 buy, so the one that's not a major one. Yeah, round 14. So I know that him and Mitchell are really going to save my butt in round 15. They should play every week. So, 160K, I think you can do it. People brought Sam Simpson in, right, at 160K. Yeah. So I think you can do it.
Having said that, apparently the word on the street is that Seamus Mitchell's got COVID this week. So
no, I thought it was I thought it was the big coach.
Oh, I thought it was Seamus Mitchell that had COVID.
No, I think it was Coach Mitchell.
Oh, Coach Mitchell.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Coach Mitchell. That was the
well done.
That was the COVID problem. So we'll wait and see what happens with that.
Many downgrade options that I like this week. Not really a fan of any of them. Makes me want to pick Kennedy just to get a rookie off the field. Yeah, I know. It's the rookies aren't great, but if Drury is named, it's hard to go past him. A 102K playing rookie, you know what I mean? Like it's with DPP to his name. Like, you know, a lot of it comes to the team sheets. I know some, you know, Humphrey was an option, I think, but I think for that price and the run that he's got to come against some really tough opposition, I'm not sure if, as I showed you just before, if he goes 50s, he's only going to have two price rises before he starts losing cash again. So, yeah, the downgrade options aren't the best. I mean, there is Sharp, I'm pretty sure.
To be honest, I've got Humphrey in this week. I think he's going to be fantastic.
All right.
Downgrade option. I mean, it's considered to be a downgrade if I'm going from Chandler to Humphrey because I actually make money. So it's not like going a Baker to Humphrey. I think he's still got a lot of money to make. If he scores a 50, he goes up 50K. So as opposed to an Atkins where, I don't know, something to be said about like a 25, 26, 27, 28-year-old player who's barely made kind of the senior team in the 4 years he's been at the club versus like a draftee from this year. But yeah, I agree with Cheese, right? There's not many downgrade options that are worth it. Like you're saying, Sharp was there. Nevitt would have been a fantastic one from last week.
Yeah. Nevitt.
There's Sharp. I think Berry might be on the bubble this week from Gold Coast. So there's another one there that could be there for us.
That's right.
Who else? There's a couple of others I think as well that are very, very close or are downgrade options. But it's just job security with everybody. I can't trust a Sharp because Brisbane's
Sharp.
Tough.
Mate, Brisbane, they have a full list apart from Rich. Rich is literally the only guy on their team who is injured, and they struggled against my mob, who have all of these important players. I'm repping my boys this week. I'm very proud of their effort. Hence why I'm wearing the Bomber gear today. Very proud of them. But no, I don't know. I reckon Sharp's job security is not bad because he's been in there, and they literally only have that one injury, which is Rich.
Yeah.
And I think Rich is someone that they're going to be happy to manage, and they clearly don't need him to win games.
Yeah, well, maybe that's the play. Maybe even go for a double downgrade because it's looking like there's not anyone who's really available next week. If I had Ashcroft instead of Hopper, I think I would be a lot happier to do the double downgrade. But yeah, it's a tough one, Joe.
Who's played? Who was there? Anyone on debut this week?
The Dogs had somebody.
That's right.
I think that was it from memory.
Cottrell, no, it's too expensive. Harry Edwards, not too expensive.
Yeah.
Sam Day, too expensive.
Where are we going?
Clark, too expensive. There's Kane Baldwin playing as a key defender for us.
I think you have to wait, man. I think
of course. He's played his first game, so he's someone who could be on the bubble in a couple of weeks' time. But I think unfortunately he might make way for Ridley this week, so that sucks. There is Cameron Fleeton, the defender rookie. He's scored a 47. I don't know what his job security is like. Phoenix Spicer, do you reckon he can hold? Nah. James O'Donnell, fingers crossed that this cricketer can play
again. He's the one that I was thinking of. I was hoping that he'd have a good couple of weeks and we could bring him in like a chin cotter, but yeah. I think he even knocked out one of his own players this week. Which was funny. There's a clip rolling around if someone can find it of him like jumping and then bashing into one of the players. Going for a
He's trying to knock out some players so that he can improve his job security, I reckon, maybe.
Pretty much.
He knows that he's in trouble. Tommy! How are you, Tommy? How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, Redmond 176. I mean, we were at that game, weren't we, last year, Big J? And I was raving the entire night. I'm like, oh, Redmond, you're going to be in my team next year. I don't care. Yeah.
And look at it now. He's not in your team, so.
He's not in my team.
As funny as Supercoach works.
Look, he might end up in my team, but right now, how am I supposed to know that Zeeble is going to be averaging 111.7? How am I supposed to know that Sheezel is averaging 99?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not expecting these guys to end up being
It's
premiums.
yeah. Oh man, it's a bit of a rough one, isn't it? There's a few options there that's just some players that have come out of nowhere, and I think we've been very lucky this year with the likes of Sheezel and Zeeble basically becoming keepers in their positions.
Yeah,
I didn't think that we would get them, but we've been pretty lucky. Do you think your final team, Joe, just looking at your side now, do you think your final team will include Rosie and Cornelio in the midfield, or what's your plans going forward with that?
I think
Because obviously
they
you've moved
might.
them
Because
up.
I'm pretty sure Sheezel's going to go into the back line
Okay.
because I might want to. Yeah, I don't know what other defender premiums are really killing me that I don't have right now. I mean, I've got the Stewart, Dawson, Dacos trio.
Yeah. I've got Sinclair, and he's not exactly setting the house on fire.
Yeah, exactly. So there's not really too much by way of defenders that is really screaming out to me. I do want to get, like, imagine if Petrarca gets forward status, that would be freaking devastating. I sort of want to leave. Yeah, and if Gorn gets forward status, I do want to be able to send Gorn forward so that I could open up a spot for English, for example. As you see, I've got Darcy
be running
Cameron
two
here.
ruckmen in the forward line, Joe. That'd be pretty
Yeah,
scary.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's all like the
Three.
more ruckmen you can have,
Ryan
the
in
better.
there and do three just to be a bit cheeky.
Yes. But yeah, so I'm thinking Sheezel goes back here. Leave a spot for Gorn, leave a spot for a forward DPP midfielder. English can come here. So yeah, you never know. Like these guys might end up staying there. Or I might trade them out if I'm really struggling come one of the buys. I mean, what's my buy structure looking like? In round 15.
It's not too bad.
That's pretty bad. I'm losing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 premiums are gone out of my team in round 15. So you never know. Cogs might be traded out. Rosie could be traded out, or some, well, maybe a Green if he starts to slow down again. Keeping an open mind in relation to these sort of players. I don't know. Like it's hard for me to forecast this year because there's so much craziness that's going on. Like all of a sudden, lead and Steel just casually sit out the last quarters of games all of a sudden now. You know what I mean? Like Quick Miller gets injured, Parrish gets injured. All these players that all of a sudden Petrarca going off to get scans on his foot after killing it. So that could if he's out, it could open the door for Clayton Oliver to go bananas.
If you can generate around that like 550 to 600K mark for an upgrade over the next couple of weeks, you're doing very well. Zach Merritt's very cheap. Lockie Neal's very cheap. Jack Steele's going to be very cheap. Patrick Cripps is going to be there's so many good downgrade options, Joe. And you hope that these guys, after their bye, can reset and do really well. But there's so many. Maybe it's just a case of the old guard dropping off and the likes of Sarong doing really well. I mean, the kid's averaging 120 in the past 3 or 4 weeks. So he's definitely a real option there. But all these premiums that we were thought, hey, they're going to be fantastic options for us. No.
Exactly.
They're very cheap. They're very cheap at the time that we needed to have them being very cheap. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Well, Dan's saying here, in order for him to flip Hopper to Merritt, he's going to need to downgrade Hollands to someone. So I don't know how much you've got in your bank, but if Drury is named, Hollands to Drury is, I think, free. Yeah. But then again, I know you mentioned up above that Drury doesn't help with your round 15 buy. The thing is,
to be honest, I think you can hold out 1 week on Zach Merritt with a break even of 120. I don't think he's averaged that much in the past couple of weeks. So I think he's got 1 more week. If you can grab someone else and then grab Zach Merritt next week, I'm not sure how Richmond are going to do against opposition midfielders. Historically, I think they do quite poor. But if Dusty Martin moves in and they have a bit of a performance like they did last week, You don't want to bring him in for a sub 100 score. Is basically what I'm
He's
saying.
not going to go sub 100. The only way he goes sub 100. The only way he goes sub 100 if he gets injured. He went 150 on these nufties last year in a demolition.
Yeah.
All right. And they are missing Hopper.
Was
They're missing
Parrish
Hopper? No.
Hopper doesn't do well. Hopper doesn't do well on bigger grounds. We've spoken about this before.
No. Hopper was doing all right. Let's have a look.
Hopper doesn't do well on big grounds. We've spoken about this before on the stream. My problem is Parrish doesn't do okay. But then look at his like MCG 67, MCG 75, Marvel 71. Like
Marvel.
50-50,
smaller
Joe.
ground. Ground.
It's 50-50, Joe.
He got injured in the second quarter.
All I know is Zach Merritt struggles when the attention's only on him. When the opposition's like, okay, we're going to have a run with player, and the opposition's focusing him, there's no Parrish to kind of take a bit of that heat. He doesn't do as well. So I think if you have someone else you're tossing up between the two players, you can bring the other person in as well. I would.
Richmond's run with player?
I don't know. I'm not a Richmond fan. I'm sure there's someone in the chat that will be able to help
Anyone
us out
in a Richmond fan in the comments, please let me know if there is a run with player that's going to keep Merritt to under 100 points. Please let me know. Yeah. I'd love to find out who it is so I can go and visit them at their house. Patrick, long-time listener, first-time questioner. Welcome to the show, Patrick. Pat. Do we entertain English to go on, especially if someone's struggling for cash?
This is something that I've been thinking about. He is on a bit of a downward spiral, but we know how well English is going to be doing. Like, we know how well the first few weeks have been for him. I'm expecting a big bounce back. Last year, a few people did it with the likes of Gorn or Oliver at 700K, downgraded and allowed them to, downgrade to a 550K, upgrade a 350K or 400K to another premium that way. I think you can do it. It's just a rough one, man. I don't want to make this. You can definitely do it. If you're struggling for cash, it's something to really consider. This is why we have trades and things like this. These are the decisions that really affect us for the whole season and can make or break your team. The only problem with Max Gorn is I don't think he's really... Last week, he did all right, but I don't know, man. When Max Gorn's in the team and Grundy's in the team, they share a lot of that time. I feel like Max gets rested a little bit more, or maybe that's because he's still recovering from the injury. But unless Grundy's out and Max Gorn's there, I don't know how many big scores Max is going. I almost feel like, hey, it's better holding English for the 120 plus. Couple of bad weeks, yes, but holding English for that 120 plus versus a Max Gorn that maybe he only averages 100 with Grundy in the team from here on in. So it's a tough one. If Bontempelli was there, and in your team, I'd go for Sean Darcy if you can. But if Bontempelli was there and he was 750K and this was the question, potentially I would say, hey, go for it. Because you can grab, Ashcroft up, grab two guys around that 550 mark. They'll probably score the same for you. But I don't know if 630 is enough, man. Gordon, it's not like you're going to be getting two guys scoring 110 is kind of what I'm saying. Gorn's had some real warning signs with Grundy still in the team. So it's up to you. Thanks very much for coming on. Hopefully we'll see you around as much as we can. Would love to have you back on the stream with us. But yeah, it's a really tough question. Really, really tough question.
Eddie, thoughts on bringing Sicily instead of Merritt for Hopper? Sick dog. He had a big game on the weekend.
He's bouncing back. He's really bouncing back. The ball's going to be in Hawthorn's backline for the rest of the year. So that's really going to help the likes of Mitchell and Weddle and definitely James Sicily. The only question is, man, he's always been touted as being that guy. You've just got to weigh up the ups and the downs. Yeah, he'll score you a 134, and then the next week will score a 70. That's kind of what you've got to deal with, and I think it's very role dependent as well. from memory, his opposition last week kicked a lot of behinds. So that led to Sicily getting a few more kickouts and things like that than what he'd normally get. So it's a tough one.
Yeah, I don't know. I personally, I don't know. I love Zachy Merritt. I think for his price. Plus, there's upside with Merritt because he dominates after the bye.
His run home's very good.
And his run home is very good. But yeah, I'm not against Sicily. I think of all the defenders that I don't have, probably Sicily might be the only one that's worth trading in. I think seems to be quite a safe defender. Jono, can you hear thoughts on where my team is at the moment later on, if that's okay? Yeah, sure thing, Jono. Jennifer, thinking Chandler to DC if named, but not sure who to bring in for Hopper. Yeah.
How much money do you have?
Is a much trade. But yeah, let us know, Jennifer, how much money you got. That's fairly important to know. But I think Hopper is a must trade. Calf injuries, always a massive concern. He's going to be missing weeks.
The thing with Hopper too, sorry for cutting off, Joe. The thing with Hopper is
shame on you.
He was never going to be a keeper for the year.
Correct.
Oh, that's kind of the big thing is, he's made us his 150K. We got saved a little bit by him having a semi-low break even last week. You got to do what you got to do. Sometimes it's the way I'm feeling with Tom Stewart as well. Kind of like he didn't go massive. He could have definitely done that. Sometimes Supercoach gives you some hints like, hey, this is your last kind of time to get rid of this player. This is your last time that, hey, if you don't pick him up now, we've given you a chance. We've given you a break. Don't waste it. That's what Supercoach does. So definitely offload Hopper. Just depends on who you've got available, really. If you've got some cash, are you looking to upgrade or are you looking to downgrade?
Supercoach has been giving me signs a lot about Will Setterfield, but I don't care. I'm sticking with my boys.
Jay's been giving you signs for the last 4 weeks, mate. I said get rid of him, and then slowly going down in money.
Nah, he's going to score over 100 this week.
Hey, you might as well sideways him to Warple. Like, that's how bad he is.
Get out of here. Not the Warpedo. No way. No way. Duke, hey, Duke, how's it going, mate? Global's looking at Matt Kennedy as a potential M9 this week.
This name's one that's been really floated around. I've seen a lot of, hey, can I bring in Matt Kennedy over the past few weeks?
Look at this drop. Look at this drop.
I know. It's an interesting one. What's his scoring been like, Joe? Pull up his scoring. So
let's not forget he's been the sub.
Yep. No, that's fine. I just can't do it. Matt Kennedy seems to be pushed out a little bit. I think maybe it's a case of Doherty wasn't in that midfield last year, which allowed Kennedy to do really well. And then now he's been the sub. Now he's been pushed out of that role a little bit. I know from a lot of Carlton fans, they'd want him in their team. They're like, hey, we're struggling. Fisher, all these other players just aren't doing really well. I don't know if it was against the Dogs, but against one of the teams, Kennedy got something like 15 touches and a goal in the 20 minutes he was in the team when he played. So, yeah, I can't do it, man. I really can't do it. It's a tough one.
It is a tough one.
Yeah, Jennifer's saying here, so Hopper plus 86K. Yep.
So how much was Hopper again? 441.
460. Yeah, so you could go if we're reading it right, Jennifer, you could go Chandler to DC and maybe Hopper in go like I was going to say Zach Merritt, but who's really available at that kind of just let's say around 540. Probably maths right.
No, it's more like 5. It's more like 530. 526.
526.
So, mid.
No Jaden Short, no Parker.
Shine
could go to Goey if you wanted to. You could support your Collingwood roots there, Jennifer, and go to Goey.
Could go LDU. No, go LDU. Or Tom Mitchell.
LDU's out for 8 weeks, mate. He's not doing anything for a while.
There's Camilio if you don't have him.
Yeah. Who else? I wonder if you could grab.
What's wrong with Tim Kelly?
Not a pick,
There's
Joe.
not
Not
a lot.
not a pick.
There's Jack Steele.
Yeah, you could go Jack Steele.
He scored 84 while sitting out just for precaution. So definitely have a look and see in terms of if he's named this week, what the sort of reporting is about him, and whether or not he's right to go. Like I don't quite understand why they would sit him out. He had icing on his knee,
the best
right?
pick. If you wanted to upgrade, I think Jack Steele's the best pick for you. There's a couple of guys in the defense like Doherty, who's around that price. Jack Sinclair, maybe you're just a little bit off getting in as well. Adam Sard, if you're really keen on him. But yeah, if you want a guy who most considered to be a top 8 position at the start of the year, I think Jack Steele's the one for you at 527. So yeah, it's just a bit rough. You've got to kind of wade through it like the rest of us have to.
Yep. Duke,
hopefully that helps
round
for you.
9, Chandler and Hopper to Sharp and Merritt or Walsh. Round 10, Ryan and Seamus Mitchell or Chincotta to Decam and Rookie. Round 11, Ashcroft and Rookie to Dawson and Rookie. Round 12, final premium comes in. What do you think?
Yep.
It's a good roadmap to have. If Decam is named this week, his break even is only 55. So he could outscore that. If he scores an 87, he's got up 14 Ks, which he should.
I don't expect him to go to be more than 520K next week. So he's not going to come out and score a 160 on debut against Mark Pitnet, who's plays for Carlton, but he's actually a half decent ruckman. So it's one to be wary of a little bit. I've played around with doing roadmaps like this a little bit, Duke, but you've kind of just got to be wary of the buy rounds. Sometimes you might have situations where a Seamus or a Cincotta actually, because of their buy round and what week they've got off, it might actually be beneficial to hold them for a little bit longer. Mitchell's getting to that juicy point that, hopefully he gets to 300K and we're all happy. But him playing that round 14, 15 buy means that I'm going to keep him until at least then. So Mitchell and Weddle, if they both play, that's 2 extra players in a round that I've got 18, like that I've got 8 or 10 players on field out. So yeah, just something to be a little bit wary there. I love roadmaps. Bringing in, so what are you doing? Walsh, bringing him in, and then Decam bring him in, and then Dawson bring him in. So it's fantastic. These are guys you want to have in your team. You want to have full premium, but because it's only best 18, be a little bit wary of going crazy on the upgrades now when potentially you might not have rookies playing, or just be wary. Last year I jumped up during the buy rounds in rankings just because I managed kind of the players in and out very, very well. And we'll talk about that a little bit coming closer to the buys, what you can do. But just be wary of like mass upgrading between now and then. So, yeah.
Big Tommy, fellas, Hopper, and which of Chandler or McKenna to Walsh, and what downgrade target appreciated? What is McKenna's break? McKenna had a stinker last week.
Mate, Chandler had a stinker last week. It's probably his worst game of the season.
It was.
What's his break even?
McKenna scored 35.
Okay. But what's his break even, Joe Goa?
88.
Yeah.
How many times have you done that?
Not at all.
Once. In round 1 was the only time he beat 88. So
yeah. McKenna's the one you have to get rid of. McKenna's the one that you have to get rid of. It's tough, but I think Chandler can make his break even or score close to it. And him being that little bit more expensive of a player helps. But I would hate for you to not be able to do that. So
105 for Chandler?
Yeah, he's big score of the 100. His big score of the 100 fell off out of the cycle, I think. So yeah, it's tough.
So you can get rid of both of them, I reckon.
Yeah, you could probably do that too if you wanted to.
I reckon get rid of both of them. Use cash in, get that cash. Use that cash.
It really depends this week. If you think that Sharp is going to be a guy that you can have all year, you can definitely do it. I could avoid getting rid of getting in Zach Merritt this week and going Humphrey and Sharp in. If I believed that like you could actually do that, I'd be very happy to do that. So it's something to look at over the next couple of days. But yeah, I always get rid of the highest break even, unless they are someone that you think can at least score close to that, because McKenna could pop out a 30 and then Chandler could pop out like a 50 or a 60. So there's a bit of something to consider there.
Yeah, I mean, Sharp, 17 disposals, 13 disposals, and you can look at that. He's got a very positive kick to handball ratio, so he's doing what you want him to do when he has the ball in hand.
I think he's been playing
the reason why he scored so poor in the first week with only a 40 was because he had 54% disposal efficiency and gave away 3 free kicks. So
it was his first game at AFL.
Exactly. It was his first game at AFL. So I would consider this his flaw. 13 touches, very inaccurate with the ball, and gave away 3 kicks. So, for a 40 super coach. So I don't know. I reckon Sharp cash in, get that money to get, I think, someone who has got not the best role. Obviously, when you look at his heat map, he's playing on the wings. But I guess a positive that you can look at it is that he's not stuck on one wing. He's like sort of, getting the ball on both sides as well as pushing into defense and pushing forward. So, look, he's definitely got a work rate. And the reason why he's got the work rate is because it's not his first season in the system, right? Look, this is his 3rd year. He's obviously been training a lot with them. So, look, I don't know. I like Harry Sharp personally. Of the cheap rookies, if Drury isn't named, then I reckon Harry Sharp is a very solid option if you want to cash in your money and get a premium in.
Yeah, I've gone Humphreys, but definitely.
Yeah, fair enough. Theo Tragic, Dan's asking you, Big J, who you're trading in this week?
It's looking like Hopper's obviously forced himself to be a trade out. I think Chandler's probably finished close to his money. So it's Hopper and Chandler to Humphreys and Zach Merritt at the moment. Just considering a couple of other players, but looking at my team, I don't think it's the right thing to have to double downgrade because I need the trades and need the upgrades. If I had someone who was around that price, then I could. But I've just tried it out now and I'm banking like 400K. So 400K is potentially 2 upgrades, but I'd be doing 1 upgrade now, 1 upgrade next week. So it's something to toss up there. But yeah, Humphreys and Zach Merritt for me at the moment.
Very, very.
I would have loved to have enough money to get Tom Stewart in, but that means no Humphrey. So yeah, it's a tough one. I'm banking on. I love the fact that Humphrey has that buy round, so the round 13 buy.
Yes,
that's a major factor for me bringing him in. Also, the fact that I think he can get to 350K, which means him plus even like a Seamus Mitchell or a Weddle or a Johnson when they come back will equal a premium because they'll be around that 500K mark with a downgrade. So yeah, it gives me some flexibility there, but it's really that buy round that's a major factor. And they love him. Yeah, he looks well. Like he plays well. So yeah, something to think about there.
Yeah, Dawson, you should wait on Dawson, I reckon. His break-even's 159, so he's still got a ways to go down, absolutely. He already has Oliver, Stewart, Petrarca. That's sensational. On your Duke, a lot of the top scoring players. Walsh or Merritt, look, it depends on your buy, obviously, your buy structure, but Walsh is likely to get forward DPP, which would cement him as a top 6 forward. Yeah, whereas 100%. Zach Merritt, he's between top 8 to top 10 midfielder, I would say. So look, if you want top of your lines, 100%. So
especially with I think Duke's actually pushing for a very good rank this year. So
Duke is very highly ranked. Yeah. So
Sam Walsh is definitely one to consider. Ultimately, correct. I think you want both, but yeah, Sam Walsh is very, very
I mean, what's Walsh's break even? He's lost some money. 125, excellent. So he's not too out of reach for us as well. Hopefully, he can drop a little bit more for us.
10K off getting Humphreys and Stewart in this week.
Then don't get Humphrey.
Yeah, I know, but I want Humphrey.
Don't get a Humphrey, bro. He doesn't speak. He's a rapist. Corey, Causa, how are you, Causa? Sharp and Oliver or Petrarca on field, or Humphrey and a Stewart or a Sarong? Well, Petrarca's got an injury concern. He's gone for scans for his foot. Oliver's a freak. I mean, how can you say no? What's Oliver's break even?
I would go Petrarca on field, or Humphrey and a Stewart or a Sarong.
He's saying Sharp or a Demon, Sharp and a Demon, or Humphrey and a Stewart or a Sarong. Look, Stewart gives him that juicy buy, which will definitely help. How's Sarong been doing these days?
Yeah, he's been going very well.
105, 109.
He's been scoring all right. My brain, don't hate me here, Corey, but my brain says do the first one. Grab Sharp and Petrarca.
Yeah, I agree. Yes.
Yeah, that's what my brain's telling me. You just got to be careful of Sharp's job security. I know Joe says he's very good, whatever, but it's Sharp's job security for me that kind of is that factor. I would hate for him to get dropped, and we've said bring him in. As Joe says, though, it looks like they're filling a position for him. It looks like, once all the guys have come back, then he's doing really well. Obviously, he did really well before. He's been doing quite well on the wing. Keep saying well, Joe. But, yeah, I would hate to say. I think Humphreys is locked in his best 22 position every week, whereas I think Sharp, there potentially could be some players that push him out of a job role, especially with a bad week. Whereas I think Humphreys is like, lock and loaded. That's it.
Yeah. Joy is asking for the best premium under 610k. He's thinking it's between Stewart and Merritt and maybe Sarong. So Stewart is up against Freo this week, who up until last week, it looked like this guy was going to be up against basically a really shit forward line that is going to be intercepting everything that comes his way. And when you look at what he did last year against him, 187, it's like, oh boy.
Yeah. Sarong, I think, has been tailored off a tiny bit the last couple of weeks, whereas it goes back to what we were saying about Oliver Petrarca, right, and Sam Walsh. Yeah. Tom Stewart is going to be a top 6 defender. He's probably number 3. Number 3 defender. Whereas Merritt might be top 8 or top 10. Sarong's probably top 6 to 10, maybe a bit closer to number 1 on that end, but hasn't done it before. So you're getting a proven player who's around his price. You're getting Zach Merritt, who you can probably wait a week on, or Sarong, who, has been scoring really well, has a few more games at home, but is that kind of hasn't done it before type player. So it would be between Stewart and Sarong for me.
Yep.
My brain's saying go Tom Stewart. I truly believe. I really believe that we non-Tom Stewart owners have been saved by not having to get punished by him last week. So he's still gettable. He's still around the same price. After that, though, I think his break even's actually quite low, so he's going to bounce up again.
He was on 80 points at halftime.
Exactly.
Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong for him in that second half.
You know who put out a tweet, Joe?
It's because you cursed him.
Who came out and said, Tom Stewart, thanks for owning Tom Stewart. Kablam! Big J gave him the slap. That's
Stop tweeting about my players. And guess what? I still beat you this week, even with your curses, by 2 points. True. So suck.
I need to start. I need to start nailing the captaincy scores again. And that's something to really be careful of. Us 33 people that are watching at the moment is, as we start to finish off our teams, captaincy scores become more and more crucial, because me and you could have around the same level of players, but if I nail the captaincy score, it could be 30, 40 points higher, and that's really going to determine the rankings later on. So, plan out your VCs, plan out your captaincies. Go an Oliver or Petrarca against Port Adelaide this week. I think Oliver's probably not the best pick. I think if you have both Petrarcas, the pick. Goulden against North. There's a few other people along that line there.
I don't feel comfortable about this. I reckon he's gonna freaking burn me to a crisp.
We've got nobody though. Like LDU's out. Cunnington potentially comes back. We don't have a midfield. I think who was it talking about? Theo was saying, is Phillips going to come back? I think so. Had a good week in the VFL this week from all reports. And we've got 6 outs minimum. So I'd be very surprised if like a Phoenix Spicer survives. Maybe he does just because of the required outs this week. But yeah, it's a tough one. We're going to be dredging out the VFL team, coming and playing them.
Lee Sullivan, were you ranked 61 and then you dropped to rank 75? Man, you're top 100. Keep it going, Lee. You can do it. You're still within touching distance and you're trading out Cogs because he's a fake premium. Don't tell me that, Lee. I had him. I traded him in, traded him out to trade him back in again.
Yeah. Same with me too. The thing with Cogs, which is interesting, is more... I think with Cogs, I think with Rosie a little bit, maybe not so much Goulden, but because we've got all these cheaper midfielders, because we've got all these cheaper ruckmen who are available in the forward line, like your Darcy Cameron, like your Gawn potentially, there's actually a scope for those that have a couple of extra trades to offload a Cogs to a Sam Walsh later, or offload a Cogs to a Petrarca or someone else like that. Do that kind of master stroke. Even with Will Day, if you've got him in the midfield or a Sheasel later on, these guys that may be starting to fall off a little bit, it's given us that potential with the DPP to be able to actually grab these more expensive midfielders. Like 150K with Cornelio gets you Petrarca. Like, if you've got 18 plus trades coming into this week, that's something that I would actually be looking at doing. Maybe not now, maybe closer to the buys. But yeah, it's a real option there for a lot of people.
The thing with Cornelio, I mean, 83% CBAs, 70% CBAs, 83% CBAs. Like, he gets a lot of CBAs, man.
He had 33 touches and scored a 93 off 33 touches, and he kicked 2 behinds.
85% Tog, 2 behinds.
2 behinds.
You know what I mean? Like
34 touches, man.
And you look at this heat map, and it's like, you know what I mean? He's the biggest tease in all of Supercoach. He's a freaking flog. Lift your game, Cornelio, you stupid rabbit. My God, I hate it. I hate him. Hey, look at him. Look at him, freaking Mr. Rabbit.
It's tough, man. It's really tough because the guy's he's getting the disposals. If you had him in fantasy, mate, you'd be laughing your head off. But it's a tough one. It's a real tough one. He's the biggest tease, as Joe says. His scoring hasn't been that great. It is the cycle of, gets 100 and then it scores a 70, and then gets 100 and scores a 70. And like I was saying, the big benefit is the fact that he stays around that 500K mark, that you can offload him with some cash and grab someone at 630, 640, 650K in the midfield.
Yeah, correct. Jono would love a Wagner to play this week. He had 25 posies in the waffle on the weekend.
Wagner did really well. Constable got about the same as well, so he could come in. It just depends on what kind of happens with the ins and outs this week for him.
He who must not be named, freaking Constable. He's on Stuart Hughes' never again list.
The thing with Constable and the thing with any rookie that you're hoping comes back is the fact that the coach talks about them, right? You want the coach to keep mentioning these people's name. If we never heard Constable's name out of Stewie Hughes' mouth, you'd know he'd be an offload target. But because he's slowly getting talked about, because they're like, oh yeah, he's close. It's something, you've got some confidence that he's going to come back at some point.
You'd think so.
Let's talk a little bit about the MSD, Joe. So currently there's 6 teams, I think, that are going to be picking at the moment. I think North Melbourne may be opening 1 spot, but I would not be putting our hopes and dreams on MSD players coming in and dominating straight away. It's tough because we want these players to be those players for us. And we've got 2 weeks until the MSD. 14 plus 15. just about 2 weeks until the MSD starts. 2 weeks until teams can nominate. There will be players that other people are looking at, but there's only 6 or 7 teams. And if you look at some of that order, I don't know how many of those are going to have instant must-have jump in my team type players. So, yeah, maybe it's starting to, grab your sharps and things like that now instead of holding out for a Baker and getting 180K from a downgrade to a rookie.
Yep, I agree. Tone, never would have thought I have so many North players in my team. Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, it's great. It's fantastic. I'm like, when Zeeble and Sheasel started scoring well, I was like, yeah, everyone gets North players because we never have rookies, right? We never really have any of these players who are actually talked about in Supercoach, maybe a defender or something. But yeah, the last couple of years
with Aaron Goldstein last year, mate. We had Poddy Goldstein.
No one picked Todd Goldstein.
We had Pod Goldstein last year.
I we didn't pick Todd Goldstein.
We did. You got Alvin.
I don't know what you're talking about there, Joe.
Of course, I have Walsh got him last week, and I got Dawson. I'm keeping him in the mid, so Walsh will be a forward. Congratulations.
It works, man.
Killing it. Libba, the true midfielder for the Dogs. That is true. So true. Libba is killing it. He is. Yeah. What is Liberatore on?
If you had picked him at 570K to start the season, I think you'd be very, very happy. Same with the Jelly. I'm not sure if it would be the same level of scoring, but Libba's fantastic. He's the one, and I said this to start the season, right? I said, hey, Libba's the one that with Dunkley out, we saw from historically from scoring in previous years, with Dunkley in or out, they'd always try and share a bit of the scoring. So yeah, it's worked out all right for him. They've got no one else that grabs the ball and kicks it. Look at that hair, Joe. Go back. You missed the haircuts, man. We've got to do the haircuts. Look at that 2018. Look how different he looks. 2017 looks like he's just come out of prison. 2018. Hey, look at my hair. So he looks like
you are the only one. You are the only one I've seen who actually puts this much effort into analyzing people's appearances.
He looks like he's come off a bender and is like, "Yep, I've just turned up for the team photos this week." So
he only had 65% CBAs against Carlton. What? Where did the CBAs go? Heck, he started forward pocket the week before for 100. That's classic Bevo moves, man. Classic Bevo, just completely stuffing up people's roles. What is this? I've never seen a heat map like this for Tom Liberatore in my life. And yeah, he still scored a 1 foot because that was a clutch, big-time goal. That was a clutch, big-time goal. So congratulations to people who own him. But I don't know, man. It's very tough to back him in. Dan should be able to get Ashcroft and Hollins to merit in a rookie next week. Ooh. Yeah, Ashcroft is close to maxing out in terms of his price. But obviously, that 97 really helps.
It really helps, but I think Bryce Mitchell put out a prediction this week that was saying, hey, if he keeps up like a 75 to an 80, he should just hit kind of that 400K mark, but not much worse. So it sucks that I kept Hopper and then not him, and you probably get another 20 or 30K out of him there. So, yeah, really, really good pick.
Like we can see, if he goes 77s, he still has, like, he'll probably drop a bit, but then he'll bounce back and make another 15K. So I think probably after that Adelaide game could be the sweet spot. Then again, he does have Hawthorn.
Ashcroft is one of those players that you want to hold him. I think does Brisbane have the first buy or the second buy? So they've got the first buy. So the only thing really saving Ashcroft is that you can probably offload him round 16 if you really wanted to. Because round 12, I think a lot of people have enough players, and then you can hold him for the next 3 weeks. And an 80 versus like a 30 or a 40 from a rookie is pretty good.
Yep. So pretty good. Course is saying Jack Graham could be the guy. As in Richmond's Jack Graham.
Yeah. Oh, the one that takes on Zach Merritt, I think he's saying, Joe.
Oh, nah.
We'll see.
Nah. He was playing forward. On the weekend.
Set a dud to set a goat with no parish. I think set a dud's just cooked, mate. Every week Joe says he's going to bounce back. I think he's just done. Unfortunately,
No,
Ross, I
he
think
is
I
he
think
is
he's
bouncing back. He is
nah,
bouncing back. He was one of our best on the weekend, and
I
that is
think
the
he's
only reason
only
why. The only reason
yeah.
why I held him. That's literally the only
I
reason why
think
I held
that
him.
the problem with Setterfield is he's an 80 average player, and we were blessed in that first couple of weeks with him scoring 90s, and then he had that big week where he scored the 140. Outside of that,
62%
yeah.
CBAs.
And look at that scoring on the right hand side. I'm saying he's an 80 to a 90 player. He had a 147, which was fantastic. Everyone jumped on, but all we've got is 80s and 90s. And
Look at this.
maybe
Look
he
at this,
bounces
Pete,
back and scores
We were
30 or 10.
we were demolished after halftime. We were demolished after
Yeah,
halftime. You
that's
can't
okay.
just
And you're going to get demolished against Richmond again. So
he will.
Richmond's
There
going to
is
demolish you.
their midfield is not as strong
Mate,
as
Dusty Martin is going
Brisbane's
to pull your
midfield.
pants down and be like, hey,
Their midfield is not as strong. I know you love to bash on Essendon, and I love to tease Essendon as well. All right, when they are there to be teased, I will tease. But we once again have been playing less days turnaround between matches compared to our opposition, and our opposition. You look at this run: Melbourne, Collingwood, Geelong, Port, Brisbane. These guys we played away. We've had to travel. For one, we're going to be playing back in Melbourne. We're up against Richmond, who will not have Hopper, which means that our midfield matchup will be better. I reckon he is getting the CBAs again when he lost them the week before. So I'm holding on to Setterfield. He might lose me a bit of money. But his break even's now back to
he's already
68.
lost your money. Joe, he's already lost your money.
Yeah, but his break even is 68 again. And he
point,
will definitely beat that.
At this point, you're only holding Setterfield because he's scoring your 80s on field. That's the only reason.
He's going to score over 100 this week.
Okay, how much? Over or under? What's your prediction this week?
I say he's going to score over 100.
Okay, and I'm going to say he's going to score under, and we'll revisit this later. Next
Alrighty.
week on Monday, guys, bring it up in the chat. Looking at you guys who are here, your 35 people that are here. Setterfield over is Joe. Setterfield under is
Let me know if you agree. If you agree, then you're on Team Joe, and we're going to kick his ass 100%. Blues fan, thoughts on Darcy Cameron for Hopper if picked? Allows me to hold Wilmot and get rid of Davey for Sharp. Not sure about the split with Cox for Cameron. No, I like it, Blues fan. I love it. I think that's excellent. Unfortunately, Davey, he hasn't been performing very well. Clearly, first year in this
he got so dudded with that 7. He lost 15K, man. It's going to happen again this week as well. It's going to be Maurice Rioli from last year.
Yeah.
Where he'd come on in the last quarter and get like 5 touches and maybe kick a goal, but maybe not. It's not what we want. It's painful.
Yeah. I like those trades. I like DC. If DC is named, I think, definitely get on him.
It's frustrating because Drury was it was our Davey to Drury for me this week. If obviously dropping in money doesn't help, but that was my trade if I thought Drury was going to be a keeper for the year.
Don't have shit rookies, mates.
It sucks.
Roberts to Drury might get you there, Jennifer. There you go. Theo, Cowan and Davey out. Nevitt and Humphrey. Thoughts, lads. So he's just cementing that cash gen.
Theo, I don't mind the Nevitt trade. Problem is, you should have done it last week. You're basically bringing in 2 guys that are 200K now. And it's fantastic. It helps you with the cash gen, but it's a tough one, man. Some of these players, you've just got to say, yep, okay, I've missed out the boat. I've missed him. Someone else will come around. It's a tough one for me. I don't think he outscores Sharp as much. It's really just the buy round and kind of having that money now. But I should have double downgraded last week.
Probably last week, yeah. Jonas, goat. Oh, Jonas. Mason Cox went large. Looks too risky to bother with D. Cameron coming back from injury and also sharing points. Leave it a week and have a look. Yeah. And then the value goes down.
I'll let you go first, and then I'll go with that.
He'll beat his 55. There's no doubt about it. You look at as Duke was saying, as Duke says, when DCAM comes back, he'll get about 70% of ruck contests because I think they like Mason Cox forward. I think they really like Mason Cox as the one taking marks in the forward 50 and lining up for goal because he is actually one of the league's best kicks for goal from set shots. And they were missing McStay, obviously, so they need to have forward power. And that is what this guy gives him. He gives him forward power, and so yeah, he hit 2 goals, one. He had 69% of the CBAs, but I definitely think that with with Darcy Cameron coming back, Cox will resume a lot of forward time, and I think without a doubt Darcy Cameron will be their number 1 ruckman, which he's capable of going huge. Because when you look at Darcy Cameron's scoring, he got injured in the 3rd quarter with Mason Cox playing in the side, and he was on 89 points. So this was on track for over 120 at the time.
And I think
Mason Cox playing.
I think that MCG game as well, Mason Cox was playing.
Yes. So Mason Cox has not been as big of a hindrance on his scoring as we thought that he was going to be in the preseason. So I think he's well and truly going to beat that 55. But if you want to wait a week, he's definitely going to be over 500K next week.
Yeah, as Joe says, I think Collingwood's having some trouble up forward with McStay and a couple of other people out. So even if Mason Cox plays, I think he plays majority forward. It frees up a few other players to do some different things, and they're desperate for a good ruckman. So it's a tough one, man. I'm hoping that Darcy Cameron doesn't go out and blow the wheels off the team that he's playing and score another 130 and really punish those people that didn't bring him in this week. It could happen, but maybe they tend to slow him down because he really hasn't played VFL. Like you can't obviously jump straight into a senior team without being fully fit, that kind of thing. So
I mean, you look at Mason Cox's ruck contests with Darcy Cameron's side. He had 32%, 28%, 24%. Like he's not having a lot. He's only got this massive ruck contest percentage with Darcy Cameron out of the team. So
he really punished people. Darcy Cameron punished us. We all came into it thinking, Mason Cox was in. Darcy Cameron's not going to do much. They're going to share like 50-50. We had some situations last year where that happened, and Darcy Cameron went from averaging like a 110 to averaging like not that great. Hey, Cheese, happy birthday. Congratulations.
Happy birthday. I hope you have an incredible evening. I hope your day was super special, Cheese. You're an absolute superstar. I can't believe you gave us money on your birthday. We need to find a way to give you a present. Thanks so much for coming on, Cheese, man. Massive love to you. Big time.
So we all got punished for it last year. We all got punished for it this morning at the start of the year because we thought that Cameron wasn't going to be as good with Cox in the team. I don't think it's going to hurt the scoring as much, is what I'm kind of saying.
We thought it was going to be 50-50, but that's not what happened. Jonas, do you think Carlton's best role player, Matt Cottrell, will tag Nicky Boy Dacos or just play on the wing? Cottrell never goes to ground, always keeps his feet, and has run with and beat Ed Langdon before. I'm always shocked and surprised why Carlton don't play Cottrell as much as they should. I really rate Cottrell, honestly, as a role player, 100%. This guy is an absolute is a gun. So
he did quite well on the weekend as well.
Is he going to tag him though? Has he been used as a tagger?
No, I think he's been using just the backman off the back line from memory. I know he was used a lot in those switch kicks, that kind of thing, but not as like a shutdown tagger type role.
Yeah, he scored 93 on the weekend off only 63% disposal efficiency. So that's really impressive. He has the tank. He can run, but he's playing more wing. I don't know whether or not that's not somewhere that you're going to see a lot of Dacos. Dacos is someone who streams out of here and loves to do a damaging kick into the middle or run past himself. So look, he's going to have to play a different role to what he played last week, but I think he's certainly capable of going with him. Absolutely. Would you captain Dacos as a result? That's the question. The question is, do you captain Dacos?
No, I wouldn't tap Captain Dacos anyway. Poor form the last couple of weeks. You always want to captain guys who are on the run versus doing that. The thing with Voss and Carlton at the moment is they're really struggling, and they really need to change some things up to make things work. So maybe he goes into a tagging type role, as Jonas was saying here. But it's hard to predict, really. Carlton are desperate for some help. Yaron, how you doing, mate? Traded Tom Hawkins after his 151. Assume traded in. Has gone up 151k and average 116. That's bloody fantastic, mate. Thanks very much, Yaron. Thanks very much for your comments. We'll keep you around. Hopefully you stick around for us Thursday live streams as well, if you want to join us for those. Yeah. The best thing about Tom Hawkins is the fact that he has that round 12 bye. And our forward line is decimated at the moment. So if you can facilitate someone else to Darcy Cameron, I would probably say try and do that. But if you're confident that maybe he won't score as well anymore, that kind of thing, and that's what you're looking for, but potentially do that. That round 12 bye, man, in that forward line is fantastic for us. Sam Simpson's going to save a lot of people's teams, and every other week. Joe, pull up your buys for your team. Go like round 12, who's in the forward line. So round 12, we lose Dunkley, so that's not too bad, right? And then round 14, yeah, that's fine. So round 14, Darcy Cameron, okay, not too bad. And then it's round 15, which is the really nasty one. So if you've got Hawkins for this bye round, it's okay. Darcy Cameron will play. So yeah, maybe you can do the trade. No worries there. I wouldn't mind it as much. You're just banking on Darcy Cameron going back to kind of his 120, 130s. So yeah, I don't mind the trade there. I don't think Tom Hawkins was a keeper.
No, he wasn't. Jono, yeah, Matt season draft coming up as well. That's going to help. It will. Eddie Humphrey has the higher price tag, but he has job security. Goodbye round and should make you 100k once the buys are all done. Cool.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, that's what he's hoping. What do you think of Humphrey's job security? I think it's
he's never leaving the team, dude.
It's rock solid.
Leaving. But barring injury, the kid's never leaving. He's their earliest draft pick in a while that they haven't offloaded for someone else. He's going to play every week.
Yeah, he's rock solid. And he's shown what he's capable of.
I think he's been getting some CBAs as well.
Yeah, VCNC this week. Thinking Bond into Dunkley or Anderson. Let's see. What are the games this week?
Bond versus Adelaide, maybe. Yep, could work.
At Mars.
I'm not sure what his record is at Mars Stadium. I know McRae always used to go big at Mars. But yeah, I'm not quite sure. But Dunkley, definitely. I think he's a sneaky pick, man. I've been considering him as well. Very sneaky pick.
Well, he's scored a 140 is his highest score.
Yeah. And
has scored a 45. So
you can be risky with your you can be very risky with your VC options this week. So yeah, I think Bond's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you could go Bond. I mean, Bond is Bond, right? He's on another stratosphere. He's in another stratosphere this year.
He'll give you like a 120 and make you worry if you want to keep the VC on him or not. And then if you don't, his opposition, that guy you downgraded to, is going to be scoring a 115, and then it's like, oh, I could have got an extra 4 points.
We could do Goulden. Could do a VC Goulden against North Melbourne.
That's what I said.
Very good.
I would go Petrarca. If you had Petrarca,
Merritt against Richmond is going to go big. Merritt against Richmond is going to go big.
I think Petrarca's the one. If you have Petrarca, grab him. Goulden, if you have him, is worth a VC. Bont, worth a VC. I don't think Sean Darcy from memory Geelong seemed to nullify Ruckman. So maybe at home he does all right. I don't think they've got Reece Stanley and other people in there. So maybe that helps a little bit. But you could even go with Madden playing so late this week. You could even just go like a Dunkley. You could go Dunkley VC. Ooh. Could you go Dunkley? No, you can't. I was going to say you can go Dunkley into Merritt, but you can't do that. If you had someone a bit later and you were struggling, you could even go Dunkley. But most people have their players playing by that time.
I'm not doing Dunkley. He hasn't shown me consistent big games, big scores. I wouldn't go Dunkley, to be honest. I like Merritt. Charlie
Constable last 5 games, 28, including 6 tackles, 5 clearances. Yep. He's been doing really well. He's been doing really well. The coach has been talking about him. That's what I was saying, Jonas. If the coach talks about them, then they're going to do really well. So you should pull up the VFL scores from the AFL website. Just like you've got a chance. Holding S. Ryan until he's bye. Yep, fantastic. That round 12, I think Freo has off and St Kilda. So if you've got Ryan, potentially you can at least put someone on the field in that ruck position. So he's definitely worth it for that. And I think it's going to plateau in price kind of around that time as well. There's talk that Nan Curvis might be close to coming back. So Ryan's been fantastic for those people that have owned him. Bloody fantastic. And, you know, it's not like he's going to leave the team either. He's going to be playing forward because Tom Lynch is out the whole season. So you can ride him a bit harder, but around this time is slowly when his break even and his scoring starts to get closer and closer.
Yes. Jennifer went Chandler and Hopper to DC and Degoe and will make her forward line complete. So she's gone full Collingwood. She's back in her pies. She's gone double Collingwood in. Best of luck to you, Jen.
Faith. Yeah.
Faith.
It's good, though.
Yes, Ross. Yes, Ross. Set a guy 100 plus. Let's go. Let's go.
Nah, come on. Not going to happen. But we'll see.
John O'Carroll. Yeah, John O'Carroll. He did ask for us to have a look at his team. Man of Steel.
DRSC. There you go. I like that ranking, Jono. I think I'm catching up. I think I'm just ahead of you.
We are catching up slowly. I'm catching up slowly, and we're getting there. Zabel, Dacos, Sinclair. Yeah, he's been a disappointment. Day, Stocker. He's not been a disappointment. Chincola, that was bad that week. Still holding on to Chesser, Bont, Clary, Noah, Neal, Green, Steele, Ashcroft, and then looping between Rory Atkins and Hollins. Okay, English Marshall, Taranto, Dunkley, Goulden, Rosie, Sheasel, and then looping between Simpson and Davey. So 140k, 141k in the bank, which is very nice.
Yeah, I like it.
He's probably thinking, what then he's also letting you know what his trades are bit here. This is a post for you, BJ. He wants to go Hollins to Humphrey and Davey to Berry or Sharp. So he's
that's fine. No worries.
It gives him an extra, a better loop option between Simpson and Berry or Sharp, and then Humphrey for that cash gen. And you're a big fan of Humphrey as well, so
yeah, I think that's fine. You just have to be careful of your trades, Jono. As we're getting closer and closer to that zero number of trades, doing more sideways trades is going to hurt us a lot more. So looking at your team, you don't really have a lot of players who you can use to upgrade like next week. Like potentially Stocker, I think, is the only one really around that price rise, right? So just have to be a bit careful.
38 break even.
No, I know, but like it's not like he's got it. Did he have Ashcroft? Ashcroft?
Yeah, he still has Ashcroft.
There? Okay. So maybe I always try and plan out my upgrades a little bit ahead. Say, hey, I've got Baker, he's ready to offload. I've got these guys ready to offload. So just have to be a little bit careful with that with your team.
Yeah. Rodney, how's it going, Rodders? Time to unload Sheasel. 200s coming out of next cycles. I mean, yeah, it is. They are. But I'm considering him a premium to me.
I think if you can facilitate Sheasel being a swingman on either position, sure, go for it. If you can put Sheasel into a 650k midfielder, fantastic. There's still a train of thought that he's going to be a keeper for the whole year. So his scoring has been very good. I'm not sure exactly what happened in the back line with him.
He's playing against Port Adelaide, who are historically great at nullifying halfbackers.
Well, there you go. So I don't think his disposal efficiency was that great either. But he's going to be a bit 59% and 7 clangers. Like that's his worst game ever for the season.
7 clangers, oh boy.
Six clangers, 59%. So no wonder he's only scored a 68. It's just a bad game.
It was
Dylan Williams, though. Bloody hell, this guy's still going up in cash.
Yeah, Williams pisses me off. No, it's not Williams who pisses me off. It's freaking Ken Hinkley, the flog.
Oh
Fire.
man, that's tough. Yeah.
Vin,
So he should
just letting
play.
you boys know, Fly has said himself that DCAM will return this week. Excellent news.
Mason Cox could be out this week, so we'll wait and see what happens with that.
Excellent news. I hope that's the case.
If that's the case, if Mason Cox is out and Darcy Cameron's the player, I might have to not go Zach Merritt this week. That's legitimately what's going to happen. No Zach Merritt this week. Keep some money. I wish I had a trade boost because getting Sharp in this week would have been fantastic. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Theo's wondering how Faye went in the VFL.
He did quite well. If
20,
Joe pulls up those
20
VFL
kicks,
stats.
6 handballs, 5 marks, 4 tackles. That's great stats for Faye. So hopefully he gets a gig really soon.
For a spot. He's definitely pushing for a spot.
I'm pretty sure the coach mentioned him by name as well as someone who had a really positive output. Kingsley was saying that he had a really good outing in the VFL. So I love it. Whenever a player gets name dropped by the coach, it's always a really positive sign that they are on the coach's radar. And ultimately, it's the coach that does the team selection. So fingers crossed that we get him soon. Lukey, I'm still persisting with Shizel Manizel. Possible upgrade. I think his cash in is finally at an end for me. Look, cash in was definitely what we brought him in for at the start of the year.
And then he started popping out hundreds.
Then he started popping out hundreds.
Whoops.
Exactly. And the guy is averaging 99.7. As who was it as Vin in the comment section says, if Shizel is your biggest problem right now, you must be the highest ranked Supercoach player. I have no problem holding on to Shizel Manizel for as long as I have to, because this guy, he's a star, man. I mean, all right.
The best thing about Shizel, right? The best thing about Shizel is that he's got the round 15 bye. So you should be able to hold him at least until then, reassess where he's at. I don't think he's going to drop much in cash. Maybe he drops 30K in that period of time. He potentially could be 550K a keeper in the forward line, averaging 115. No worries, right? Or the back line. But I don't see him dropping much cash. And because he's got that round 15 bye, it's perfect to be able to offload to anybody. So, as Joe says, and as other people have said, if he's your worst player, you're doing very, very well.
Absolutely.
But I would not be looking to offload Shizel right now.
Yes. Cottrell is the best runner at the club right there with Walsh and Hollands. I don't deny it. And he should get more games. I don't know why he doesn't. You can ask Hippo. Hippo's a Carlton man. How's it going, Hippo? Sorry. Zebul VC against Sydney. They got no method against going inside 15 to try hitting up every single time. Yeah. Could even be a good bounce back game for this young gentleman as well. So I would trade him out at your peril, Luke, I reckon. This kid could have a big bounce back score against Sydney.
Here's one for you, Joe. Disregarding all DPP, who do you think averages more out of Merritt and Walsh from now
on? Walsh, I think, is probably the more consistent scorer in terms of his floor.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Merritt will have more monster games in him. So it's a good question. And I love our run home. Our run home is so good. I think probably just this year, I reckon Merritt will probably beat Walsh.
Yeah, Merritt last year was averaging like 130. It was fantastic. So
after the bye, let's actually pull up for the people that see. I couldn't have him last year because my midfield was already full by that point.
Jay had him. And
Big J had him, and Big J was saying to me, "Oh, I don't want to pick." I convinced him to pick up Merritt, and he's like, "Oh, I don't want this fake premium who can't score anything." And
that was fantastic.
I was so pissed off because you look at his scoring after the bye: 140, 147, 136, 133, 140. Like, this stretch was ridiculous. And this guy's like, oh, fake premium. Piss off, Big J. This is not a fake premium. This is what he's capable of doing. So, look,
Yeah.
I don't know. I reckon merit for me.
I would almost say
Zach
Walsh. So Zach Walsh. I would almost say Sam Walsh. It really depends on Parrish, and when Parrish comes back, because I'm a firm believer in the fact that Zach Merritt doesn't do well with attention. He'll score you like 100, but he won't go massive because he's not let off the leash. If oppositions do run with him, then I think he's in a bit of trouble. And if he's the only midfielder, no offense to Essendon midfielders, right? But if he's the only good midfielder that you guys have at the moment, he's going to get all the attention. So, yeah, it's a bit tough there.
Shield will lift. Setterfield will lift.
Isn't Shield injured?
Package. No. He rolled his ankle in the game, but he continued playing.
Okay.
Package. The
Mitchell.
package.
Mitchell would be my pick from those two.
Really? Over Chincotta?
Yeah. I don't know. Chincotta, I got scared away a little bit by his scoring last week. So, yeah.
70, 88, 67. He had just one bad game.
I understand. I'm just saying, out of those two, I think maybe him this week.
Interesting. No worries. If you say so. You can do that. Let's look at the Dukes team. Tom Stewart was your VC. Yeah, I'm the same, man. I'm the same. Yeah. He let all those non-owners off the hook so bad. Zeeble, Dacos, Sinclair, Day, Sheasel, Weddle. Look at his rank. Look at his rank for the Duke, boys.
He's doing well.
He's doing very well. He's doing very well. Bond, captain.
Yeah, you did the same thing. So I was saying last time, right? Your vice captain scores like 2 points more than the captain.
Look at that.
It always ends up happening.
Laird, Green, Steele, Hopper, Ashcroft, Rowan, Samson Ryan at R2. Samson Ryan at R2. How good is Samson Ryan, Duke? He has saved our season.
Fantastic.
Tim Jones, Dunkley, Goulden, Rosie, Cogs, Chandler, Mitchell, Roberts. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really cool, man. If you can get a Walsh in, then that would be insane. Hopper and Chandler, Sharp and Walsh. He can do it. He can do.
Yeah.
But what's the buy structure like? Do you have too many people in the Carlton buy? When's the Carlton buy again? Was it round 14 or 15?
I think so. No, the first is that the first one? No,
yeah, round 15 for Carlton. If you don't have too many people in that round 15, which I don't think you got Zeeble, Shazel, so that's 2. Bont is 3. When's Adelaide's break? When's Adelaide's buy? Green is 4.
Yeah, you just got to be careful of the buys, really.
Taranto 5. Rosie 6. Well, what's happened there? Rosie 6. Cornelio 7. Yeah, so you're on the similar boat to me. You have 7 players in that buy. If you were to add Walsh, that would be an 8th player, an 8th premium in that buy. So I think that that might be a bit too heavy in that round 15 buy. I think having 8 premiums gone in that week. So that's the part. That's part of the problem. Why you can probably do a Merritt because Merritt won't be in that buy. Merritt is the week before in round 14. Yeah. It's crazy. It comes down to that. When the players' scoring output are similar, sometimes it might just be considering what the buy is to be that tiebreaker to push you over the top.
Yeah, Jono, I would just be a bit careful. Stocker's still got some money to make, and with that buy in round 12, he's really going to help you in that back line. So maybe you have to hold him until the buys and until like round 15. It just depends on what your structure's like, but he's going to be fantastic for you. Hot pies. Let's go, Joe.
It's a shame that you have the most generic name in the history of names, and my name is
which
Joe.
one
My
is you?
name is Joe, and Hot Pies is more generic than Joe. Come on.
How many Hot Pies? And they all have the Collingwood as well. So, there you go.
Yeah, I know. Look,
Yeah.
Jennifer, I'm assuming this is yours. Hot Pies, and her name is Jennifer. So, all right, Jen, let's have a look. Dawson, 76. Good rank. Good work.
Not too bad.
Dawson, Zeeble, Dacos, Sicily, Wilmot, Cowan. So you're feeling 2 rookies still in the back line.
Looping Seamus Mitchell. So that's fine.
Yeah. Bond, Petrarca, another one with Petrarca. He's been huge.
He's
been
very
so
good. He's very, very good.
Oliver, I did say if you're going to pick between Anderson or Petrarca last week, I said go Petrarca, and I think that was the correct.
I have a question, Joe.
Green, yeah, what?
Do I go?
No.
Petrarca
Green,
over Tom
we're
Stewart
doing Jennifer's team.
Oh, sorry.
Don't freaking interrupt. Unbelievable. Jennifer, I know you're back for Collingwood, but I got you back. Green, Canelio, Hopper, Ashcroft, Chincotta, Lupin. I went early on Drury. Yep. English, Marshall, Taranto, Dunkley, Goulden, Rosie, Sheasel, Chandler. Yeah. So, Van Ruin. You were happy Van Ruin was justice prevailed and Van Ruin played. That's excellent. That 70 is huge for him. So, yeah, it's good. And you're gonna add both the Goey and DC this week. So you're getting rid of Chandler, who probably has to be traded out. So your forward line, you're not affording any rookies there, which is excellent. And you're getting DeGoey in, which will push. No, you will still have Chincotta there, but you can.
I think you were saying in the chat, it finishes off the forward line.
Yeah, the forward line is finished. Correct. But you can still send a Sheasel into the back line down the track if you get a guy like Walsh, for example,
or Max Gawn. If Max Gawn stays around that 500k mark, yeah.
Correct. So on your Jen, that's really looking really good. Vin, do I double upgrade JVR and Hopper to Merritt and DCAM, or do I go for better bench coverage by doing Humphrey and DCAM for buy rounds?
No,
my team is
get the premiums. Get the premium. Yeah.
Especially when they're this cheap. Like Merritt and DCAM, like what I'm doing this week, I'm really happy. I'm really excited in that I'm able to get these 2 very cheap premiums who I think are capable. Darcy Cameron in particular, very likely to be top 6 forward, and Merritt with our run is capable of being a top 8 mid. So get the premiums, man. Will be really huge. Clary 2K. I'm a bit confused about the Cheezel thing. Can someone please explain?
Obviously, Cheezel's name sounds like Sheasel, but yeah, there's a bit of things going around. When we first drafted him, there was a few people who gave him some Cheezel packets, and he got to sign them, and then the club's kind of jumped on board with the name as well, and he has as well. So yeah, just a bit of a name there. Obviously, Australian snack. It's pretty cool.
Oh, that is really cool. All right, what's the next one? Really, no one is giving you answers about that. That is very.
There's been a couple in the chat. Hopefully that makes sense, Clary. Hopefully that makes sense. Absolutely.
Walsh and Gawn will get it pretty much. Yeah.
I think so. Walsh or Merritt?
Both.
Yeah, both. Yeah, just depends on break evens, really. Walsh maybe this week, Merritt next week if you can afford it. I don't think Merritt's going to go up in price. So,
look, he's saying that round 14 is the worst for him. So then round 15. But look, if round 14 is worse for you than round 15, then yeah, go Walsh.
You're on to a winner. Last couple of questions, and then I think we're heading off. So
Luke's team, Vader's army. Oh wait, sorry, did we skipped Vin?
See, you say this, Vin, but then you've got Darcy Cameron at 500k, and that's like Baker plus another rookie. So we're very, very lucky this year with the likes of Paddy Cripps dropping 40s, with Lockie Neal dropping 40s and 50s, with Jack Steele and some other players dropping around that mark as well. There is options there for us to downgrade to. So I don't think we need to be pumping out and getting these 600k players. I think that time's almost finished for a lot of people that don't have this. And in previous years, we've been really stuck with downgrade options or with upgrade options that have been good. Remember trying to scrounge around for, I think I brought in Darcy Moore one year because he was like 450k or 500k and I couldn't afford anyone else. Whereas I think now there's a lot of players, even in the back line, there's a lot of players there around that price. So,
Yeah.
you know, if you've got a Zeeble and you want to put him in the forward line, grab Sicily or grab someone else or a Sinclair, you know, around that price and you'll be laughing. So I don't think we're in as much trouble as kind of what some people are saying. Mitchell should reach that kind of almost 300k mark. Weddle hopefully gets to there. Sam Simpson's looking like he's going to get there as well. So two of these players equals a 500k premium pretty easy.
Yeah, and I sort of at this point of the year, when we're running low on trades as well, like the last thing you want to do is start trading in premiums that are not going to be, if not top of their line, like top 6 defender, top 6 forward, top 8 to 10 midfielder, then what's the point in trading them in? Like it's not ideal. Yeah. Like you want to be trying to get as many of the top dogs as possible, because yes, you can have a premium in your team, and you can have a team full of them, but you're always going to be left behind in every single position on points because someone has traded in a top 8 midfielder, whereas you've traded in a top 15 midfielder. The gap in points will see you as the season progresses falling further and further behind. I'm not one to take a gamble, especially on a Bulldog who plays for Bevo. Who knows, what sort of role Baslenka's going to have. I don't want to go for speculative options. The midfielders that we're talking about, Merritt, Walsh, Petrarca, Oliver, these guys are not speculative. These guys are bona fide, genuine premium options who all could finish top of their lines in the top 8 midfielders or top 6 forwards. Baslenka is too speculative for me. And Jonas, I want to highlight you. Thank you so much, mate. You're absolute superstar. I'm trying to get the love heart there. Really appreciate it, guys. Buys don't matter for me, fellas. I will have 7 out in both round 15. I will have 8 depending on whether I go. So who is it? Look, you can't go wrong with either of them because ideally, both of them should be in your team. They both don't share the same buy. They both have a fairly high break even still. So they're not both going to outprice you astronomically if you miss them this week. I'm not sure. It's just a question. I think who do you think nets you the most points this week? If it's Walsh against Collingwood or if it's Merritt against Richmond, personally.
I think if I had to choose, gun to my head, I think you pick Merritt. Walsh has that more consistent 100-ish scoring level, maybe a little bit more. But Merritt's got a better run home. It's all just dependent on Parrish for me. So Merritt is probably more likely to go that 120. Walsh has people around him who can take ball off him. So just have to be careful there. I would be going Zach Merritt. And he's cheaper. So, yeah. Joe, I'm thinking next week, we'll see how we can facilitate it. But if some people are interested, maybe we do some fan cams where people can actually ask questions live. So bit of a heads up for you guys who are in the chat if you're interested. We'll try and work out how to do it. But if you've got a camera and, you're not going to say nasty words on stream, because we'll get demonetized and shut down, so don't do that. We might have you guys on. You guys can ask some questions live and we can go over your team. You can talk about how your team's going, that kind of thing. So let us know in the comments if that's something interested that you'd love to do. But kind of going forward on Mondays, we'll try and have guests on and things like that, but get a bit more interactive with the fans, even if you want to jump on and talk about how your team went on the weekend in footy. So, let us know in the comments if that's something you're looking for. 100%. I have to head off, Joe. I'm not sure if you're going to be on for much longer, but...
No, I am starving. I'm absolutely starving. I actually had a really long day at work and I only arrived at like 7 o'clock or something. I had a shower, been a really long day. So, I'm going to be heading off with you, mate.
Nice. All right, guys.
Thank you so much for coming and watching.
And we'll see you this week on Thursday at 5:30. So we'll try and get a special guest on. We'll see how we go. But try and get a special guest on for you guys. Go over the team sheets. Hopefully your trades work out okay. if you get stuck, shoot us a message on Facebook. We've got our Facebook page there as well. So yeah, that's where you can reach us there, or on Twitter. Tag us on Twitter if you want. All right. Any final words, Joe?
No, thanks guys so much for watching. If you haven't subbed and you're watching us, please chuck us a sub, drop us a like.
Tell your friends as well.
Yeah, tell your friends. You got a couple of hooligans who talk Supercoach, who love to rib each other and play some Supercoach. So, and yeah, as Big J says, we'd love to have you guys come on the stream next Monday. So if you definitely feel confident, you don't feel shy showing your face. I was shy at first, but don't worry, it all works out well. So thanks guys for watching. Remember, here at the Centre Bounce, we do the hard work so that you don't have to.
And
Bye
team
for now,
reviews
guys.
coming out in the next couple of days. So probably today or tomorrow.
Today or tomorrow. Yes.